Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. I'm here with my man Andy, and we are going to talk about the New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen, like we do every week. Welcome to Knicks Weekly. For those who are new, if you don't know me, I'm your boy Sim. And, we're going to go ahead and get into this. What we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about Kenny Payne. Maybe it's a little bit old news, but I didn't get a chance to talk to you guys about it. The Delete 8. We'll talk about the NBA lottery and some of the Knicks odds, and we'll get into the NBA playoffs that's going to start tomorrow night. That should be pretty fun. When we talk about the NBA playoffs, we're going to move exclusively to sportscasting when we talk about the playoffs. All right, so make sure that you join us there because that's going to be a good, fun conversation. All right, and that link will be in the description, and I'll also put it in the YouTube chat so that we can have a nice conversation. So, look, I know I hear every week, every time I do it, guys get mad because I switch over to Sportscaster, but just come on over to Sportscaster with me when it's time, and it'll be all good. All right, it'll be all good, ladies and gentlemen. And I do want to let you know that Thursday at 8 p.m., I'll be on live as we do, as we break down the NBA lottery and we talk about the Knicks lottery odds and what you might do if we get this, that, and the third. All right, so that's going to be this Thursday, 8 p.m. We'll be on live, and we'll take it all the way through the lottery, and then we'll take it till after the lottery and talk about the New York Knicks. All right? So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and let's get this thing on the move. I got my man Andy up here in the chat. We got some other guys piling into the chat, and, we're going to go ahead and get this thing on the move. We just got Guillermo that just joined us in the chat. So let's go ahead and get this thing rocking. People calling in already. We didn't even get a chance to talk to the chat yet. What's going on, fellas?
What up? What up to you and what up to the chat? Happy to see Guillermo back.
Yo, what's good, y'all?
What's going on?
Low volume.
Yeah, volume's a little bit low.
Oh, mine?
Yeah, no.
All right.
Yeah, just a little bit low.
Because you don't have that regular V-neck.
Keep going. Yo, you know what? Look, not going to work, man. I got to use up these V-necks, man.
You said you got to use them up?
There's no purpose to them because I don't wear like a work shirt, so I need, you know what? Just for that, Andy, I got you. Since you want to insult me, I got all y'all clowns.
I know you missed me, bro.
Let me pause this. I got you, Andy. You want to start trouble?
Oh, he's going to change it to a V-neck. See that? He goes off the screen so he can change it to a V-neck.
I got 30 of these, man.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. At least get them in different colors. Do you have them in different colors at least?
I had to get like 30 of these. Once you get that yellow arm, you gotta reload, man.
Yeah, you got 30 white V-necks. 15 of them got underarm stains on it, probably. But
You guys are grimy, man.
That's how you buy them from AliExpress, bro. It's like 60 of them. You gotta buy 60 of them. So.
All right, let's get to the damn Knicks.
Let's get to the Knicks. We're gonna get to the Knicks. Let's get to the Knicks, man. Mark, what's poppin'? Mark, what's good?
Oh, man.
What's on, man? Happy Sunday to everyone.
Yes, sir. Yeah, yes, sir. Let's get to it. All right, well, let's jump right in. Let's talk about Kenny Payne. The Knicks went ahead and they hired Kenny Payne. We had a good conversation about it last week anyway. But I guess we'll just, talk about what it means again. Right? I did see an article where they talked about Tyrese Maxey and that, maybe he has some inside information on Tyrese Maxey. If the Knicks stay within that 6 to 10 range, that maybe he could be a possibility for the New York Knicks. I really don't see it.
Nah.
And of course, we're going to get to the lottery odds. I really don't see it. But of course, being that Kenny Payne was an assistant with Kentucky, he's got some inside information on the kid, right? But Mark, what do you think about Kenny Payne, man?
Like I said last time we talked about it, it's kind of cool that we got a player developer because we didn't have that in some years. And we thought that we had one, so it's kind of nice to hear that we got one now to help some of these younger guys get better and stuff like that. So I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it, just as long as that Listen, man.
What? Just as long as what? Go ahead, spit it out.
As long as they don't do too much inside job things, like where it's like you're gonna take Tyler Maxey around 6 and 10, because there's better guards better than him. I think he's more of a tweener. I'm not too intrigued with that kid, so
right.
I don't like to hear that.
I think that just came out because he played for Kentucky.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Basically, it's just that.
I don't want to hear no inside crap.
You know, but I mean, you know, the media is going to do that regardless. I don't think the Knicks have. I don't think they're considering. Listen, I personally think if the Knicks, what did Leon Rose say? Leon Rose said that there's parity. There's parity. You know, once you get past those top 3 picks, it's parity throughout the draft. I think if the Knicks don't get into that top 3 on Thursday, I think everything is on the table. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that point. Right, we'll get to that point there. But Kenny Payne. So the Knicks went ahead. They hired Kenny Payne as an assistant, one of the top assistants on the team, a developmental guy, and hopefully.
I'm cool with that too. So.
Yeah, and you know we had a really good discussion about it last week it was. But I think he's going to. I'm hoping that, you know, their hire of Kenny Payne is more about just his developmental skills than just any one specific player. Not to say that it doesn't help those guys, but if they end up moving those guys, Kevin Knox, Julius Randle, you know, you don't want it to be like, okay, well, those guys are gone. We have no more need for Kenny Payne. I don't think it's that kind of situation. I think they really like what he can do.
No, I think he's here to stay, especially how they pulled him away from Kentucky being all these years and getting paid. So, no, I think he's here to stay.
Yeah. Yeah,
and also what I read, Sim, is that I think the Knicks already let Craig Robinson go. So there was a rumor that maybe Kenny Payne isn't only to be an elite assistant or assistant. Maybe he can be, you know, a little bit above in the organization thing when because Craig Robinson was on the main developmental something, you know, I don't know the exact title he had, but they were talking that Kenny Payne might have that title as well under him.
So he's gonna be like what you would say like like a coach to the assistants and stuff like that to other workers.
I guess like the top developmental guy, right? I didn't get a chance to look on the Knicks public relations account to see, you know, what they called him officially, but Craig Robinson was like the top developmental guy. That was what he was supposed to do, and they were supposed to have this groundbreaking developmental system. That's what they said. Like a year ago, right? They had this groundbreaking developmental system that they think is going to work wonders, blah, 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 blah. Well, obviously it didn't work. And Craig Robinson's contract expired this month. So, you know, it wasn't like they fired him. It's just the contract expired. Yeah. And he went on to do something bigger. You know, he went on to do something anyway. So
I want to see what he does with the big man because, again, you know, you're talking about Kentucky who they developed the so-called small man finesse games of Cat and AD, right? AD is probably, I want to say as a big man, he probably has some of the best mid-range shooting in the game. And Cat has a really good back to the basket and front to the basket game. And it's measured how they play. It's not, there's a rhyme or reason. You know, you could, whatever faults they may have, especially Cat, you know, offensively, you could never say that they aren't
polished. He's polished.
They aren't more developed than some other guys, and especially AD. I think a lot of that came from his time at Kentucky, and it spilled over to his time with the Pelicans. So I'm interested to see what he does with Mitch, Randall as well too. Even though Randall, to me, I think a lot of it's mental. I think Randall has to devote his game to fitting the team versus fitting his stats. And what fits for the team, not what fits in his head. I'm more interested to see what he does with Mitch because, again, Mitch is going to be really important because that contract is going to come up. And some team is going to throw him big money. And we have to discern whether we want to throw a guy like that big money. If this guy comes in next year, he's shooting 36, even 35% from three, even 34% from three. You know what I mean? If he has a mid-range where he can hit it. I don't know what the average is for the mid-range, but if he can give us
shot first, Gammo.
3 to 4, even 5 shots a game and make at least half of those. You know what I mean? And we can build from there. We can actually have offensive sets geared for him. You know, I'm not, you know, and then increase his time because, again, he's only averaging 20-something minutes. I mean, we have to validate why he's on the court. And if you can validate that, you know, you can get other guys in the draft. You don't have to go for a redundancy in a guy like Wiseman, right? I mean, so I think that this guy, Kenny, is going to be really important with regards to developing, you know, some of our big men.
Yeah.
Maybe even grab some big men. I don't know what his eyes are. Maybe in the second round, he could pick second round, even undrafted. Because remember, just because he's at Kentucky doesn't mean that he only has eyes for Kentucky, right? I mean, they're probably also looking at and scouting guys all over the league. So if you could pick up a guy who I like Duncan Robinson, a big man who could space the floor, you know, I mean, you get him undrafted or second round. I mean,
right. You know, I'm a little bit concerned for Mitch. This just me. Because Tom Thibodeau, like I said before, Tom Thibodeau, you know, he's only had a certain kind of center that I don't want to say center, big man that he's worked with. And that's usually a guy that can post up, pass from the high post. You know, and I haven't seen him work with a center like Mitchell Robinson, a guy that's a rim runner. So I'm not exactly sure. I'm just curious to see how Tom Thibodeau is going to work Mitch into the offensive side. It's, you know, I think as long as I'm assuming Mitch is here, you know, he called him one of the pillars of the team, so he's going to be there. But I'm just curious to see, does he try to work with him on his low post game, knowing that it's going to take a few years to develop, you know, his high post game and passing from the high post? Or does he say, listen, I know what he can do. He's a rim runner. I'm going to utilize that for now while we're developing those other parts of his game. Now, you know, so yeah, I'm a little bit concerned with Mitch right now.
I'm gonna say this: if Mitch don't even become the back to the basket shooting type of big that people want to see, which I don't think he is.
Nope.
I just think that I think that Tom Thibodeau is gonna work at what he can do more than what he cannot do. So I'm not too concerned with him being a quality player, but a lot of people think of having him at like a star type player. And I think people need to tone that down a little bit. Don't put your expectations too high like that, because we have to see if he can even make plays when the ball's in his hands from time to time. He don't have to make plays every time he gets the ball, but he has to learn how to be smart with the ball in his hand. So if he shows signs of that, I just think that he's going to be used to what he can do more than what he cannot do. And Tom Thibodeau is great at that. So I think he's great at it. Whatever he got with, he deals with it.
I think with the back to basket, you know, as funny as it is that people kind of poo-poo, not you guys, but poo-poo on it, it's probably one of the hardest things. I think that's something you develop as you grow up, and like kind of like if you don't have it, if you don't put the time into it, you kind of have. So with me, I do share the same fears about Mitch that he may never get it, but you know, I think there are two things Mitch can do. He can pick spots on the floor where he takes a 1-2 dribble and he shoots it from the elbow, shoots it from the foul line, and also the set shot, right? So when he's getting at the foul line, or when he does the rub off, he fakes the rub off pass and he's left by himself. Literally just learn how to just square up and shoot it. You know what I mean? That right there, you give me 5-7 points from that a night, I'm good. As development, we don't need Mitch. And I understand the back to basket. I would love for him to look like a Jokic, you know, when he's a Davis, right? But again, he's good. That's going to take like 2-3 summers. And I look at that down the road, because the thing with that's all functional, right? You know, when you go up and you square, when you look at like a guy, like a old school guy, like a Derek Coleman, right? You know, these guys, they just, or even a Cousins, they have a natural feel for it, right? They can use their weight. They know how to shift it. And Mitch is so wiry and he's so awkward right now. It will put too much on his head for him to be like, you know, when you're squaring up, you're buying the guy down, say from on the right side. You know, once you feel him one way, you spin on him, or if he doesn't give you that give, you kind of fake it and then pump it up. I think that's kind of tough. Just give me 1-2 dribble, punch, shoot, and that set shot, and I'm more than happy. And then also the 3-point, because these guys are going to give him space. The thing about Mitch that I think that holds back our offense is that he has to clog the middle. right? And I put this, I guess, on my Instagram. Only 2 people saw it, but I was like, when they put the field goal percentage, it's like, well, that it comes with a huge caveat because all his points were scored down low, and you needed somebody to kind of get him the ball, right? He has to realize that himself. All that stuff he's doing in the gym, that's cute. You need to devote your time and your energy to getting rid of those cobwebs that make you scared and squaring up and learning how to shoot the set shot. We need you to do that so you can open up the offense. So, some of these guys that we say, oh, they suck as a point guard, we could bring in a Kara Lewis next year. And if he has a guy like Mitch who, if they don't run the pick and roll, the offense kind of flutters, Kara Lewis is not going to have that space to drive the basket while Mitch is there. So Mitch has to learn how to space out the floor to allow the whole team to kind of blossom around him.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree with everything you just said. I just fear that how Tom Thibodeau, if Tom Thibodeau will use Mitch to his strengths, and if Tom Thibodeau likes a certain style of play, and Mitch is not able to,
he's not going to fit in that.
If he doesn't fit into that style of play, that his minutes dwindle. You know what I mean? I don't know. And maybe Tom Thibodeau, knows how to use them. I'm pretty sure he's done a lot of, he's been doing a lot of scouting of the Knicks, depending on who he hires. Fills out the rest of his bench. Mm-hmm. He may have some guys that are able to utilize Mitch's skills, and he can rely on those guys to utilize his skills. So we'll see. I'm just a little bit concerned about not with Mitch as a player and how good he can be, because I think he's putting in the work. Just how Tom Thibodeau might use him.
Tim, you know what I say? I think his minutes is gonna be boosted to like 10 plus a game because of his activity. And if you just look down from the teams that he coached, whoever gives productivity gets the minutes, just period. That's why I'm not too concerned about him ever not being on the floor. Because again, I think this year before the season start, when there was games where it was like they would take him off the floor, we would do horrible defensively. And these games where I say, put him back on the floor. Because it's not just about him getting blocks. It's just about him. It's about him being in positions where it could cause havoc for other teams' offense. So I think in the case if his activity is high, which he shows almost every game, he never shows me that he's in and out of the game. His confidence don't vary. I think that his minutes is going to be 30. I think that he's going to go 20 to 32 plus. If he shows you, I think he's going to show you that level of activity. So I'm not too concerned with that. It's just about his playing style. The playing style is going to be whatever players we get, he's going to construct the playing style to whatever players that we have. Plain and simple.
Okay.
So how was there? So we'll put it like this, right? So he had Taj Gibson and Jakim Noah with the Bulls, right? And then his center was Cat with the Wolves, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I salute to Nick for pointing this out in terms of his the way he was flexible with regards to his offenses. Given
he was very flexible with Cat.
But when you look because Sim on one hand is saying that Mitch might not fit what he wants, but then on the other hand, he was kind of flexible with what he got, right? He didn't try to make Jakim Noah, this type of. He said, hey, you're a good passer, you have good court vision, you could pick really well. We're going to use that to a T, right? Where do you see Mitch falling in line? Like, does he really fit any of those centers because we have to look at past evidence. Does he really fit any of the centers that what's the name has had, Tom Thibodeau's had? I mean, he can kind of run to the basket, after the pick like Taj Gibson did, where, Taj would make the pass and cut to the basket. But other than that, and even Mitch's ceiling, does he represent any center that Thibodeau has had before?
He doesn't.
He doesn't. But I'm gonna say this, Gammo. So due to the Knicks the last couple of years, right? Mm-hmm. We really haven't had an offensive structure where people are really cutting on a consistent level, right? So this year, I think there will be a lot of that. I think there'll be a lot of that. So this year, we have to come in to see if he's able to make passes while players are cutting. If he start making plays if he start making like simple passes like that, then you could just see that his game could continue to grow and grow and grow because we're at a standpoint where we have to start all over again because we have a new coach. These guys haven't had structure to know what they should be doing on the floor. So I think this year, if they get the right players or the right system to make the players that can move off the ball consistently, I think that will help Mitch's game. So if that happens.
Okay, but see, that's another big if. Yeah. If you're looking at this team right now, right, even without the draft, right, because I don't want to say Anthony Edwards, LaMelo, given what we have now and how Tom Thibodeau has coached in the past, excuse me, what would be the best offense? What's a reasonable offense that you can see Tom Thibodeau doing centered around Mitch and what we have now?
I think first, number one, RJ is going to be the one that's going to the other player is going to be centered around. So due to the fact,
sorry, you said who?
I said RJ. He's going to take
RJ. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think he's going to be more of the face of the team now because he's going to utilize that low post that he has. So in that case, I think Mitch is going to. He's going to do good in that because, again, he's quick. He has athleticism. And the thing is, all he would have to learn is when he gets the ball, just go. Because he can beat people off the dribble. He can because he's quick enough. So I think it's more going to be off of.
You're saying RJ could beat people off the dribble?
No. Mitch. Like if he gets the ball on the eye. Yeah, if he gets the ball on the eye. Because I think Tibbs and a lot of us see that he can make a quick move if he's being taught that in practices and being told that in practice. Listen, if you feel like you got the guy, you do what you have to do. And half the time, what he's good at, and one thing I have to take away from DeAndre Jordan for him being here, he runs the floor as a big man is supposed to. When the ball comes off rebounds, he runs in a straight line. Shaq even talk about it. And it causes so much havoc because, again, we didn't have a point guard. So a lot of him running down the rim, there was a lot of missed passes for him to get easy buckets. So in that case, if we get a good guard and stuff like that, I think you will see a lot of his attributes come out because, again, it's hard to really, really, really judge his team for the last couple of years. We're only judging what most of these players could do, not as not as a whole. Yeah, not as a whole team. So it's kind of hard right now, to tell you the truth, to say what Mitch could be right now.
No, but what I'm trying to say is that when you look at a guy like Mitch, it's like, I just, with Tom Thibodeau is going to have to reach back and really try to see the proper type. Because, we have so many damn ifs on this team because we had such bad coaching. Even though I do like Mike Miller, I think that he was kind of hamstrung, and I don't think he was allowed, proper time. And when this idiot said, basically, we're looking for new coaches, he probably was just like, all right, F it. But when I see Tom Thibodeau, it's like, rim protector, has he really had like a rim running protector type of player? I'm trying to guess. I don't know.
He hasn't. He hasn't. It's been Joakim Noah, Taj Gibson, Karl Anthony Towns. He hasn't. Now, was he with the Knicks when the Knicks had Marcus Camby?
Because he was assistant to Van Gundy. I think so, right?
Yes, he did.
I think he may have been. He may have been with the Knicks when they had. I'd have to go back and look at the years, but he may have been with the Knicks when the Knicks had Marcus Camby.
I think that was 04 or 05, Sin. Yeah, it was 04 or 05.
Did Marcus Camby? I don't know if anybody has.
Yeah, it had to be because he went to Denver. He went to Denver when Melo was playing, so it had to be. It had to be around early 2000, early mid 2000s. So he did coach him with Jeff Van Gundy.
Did Marcus Camby? Now here's the thing: did Marcus Camby always have that jump shot, or did he develop that after Ewing kind of?
He had that jump.
He kind of had a jump shot a little bit.
All right, I'm just trying to think. Because as ugly as it was, it was okay, especially when Ewing was out. Obviously we didn't have the Spurs was just it's too much.
Well, personally, I just want to see Mitch as a defensive demon this season. Like really, like clamp on it. Like really emerge himself into one of the top defenders because that will shape the team more better, and that will make other players lead because, again, we suck at defense, and you want someone like Mitch that can move so mobile. And that's the thing that we have to be happy about because he never had a defensive demon like that can move like that. So just think about what he did with Joakim Noah, even Carl Towns to a certain extent. But if you have someone that could really move like that, you should be happy about that, most likely on the defensive end, because he's going to put him in defensive schemes and not let him. He kind of learned how not to foul a little bit throughout the season, but it's going to be more of a repetition for him to get better at defending. So I think I'm kind of happy with that.
And look, so yeah, Tom Thibodeau, Marcus Camby was with the Knicks from 98 to 2002. Tom Thibodeau was with the Knicks from 96 till 2003. So he coached Marcus Camby. So there's some experience right there, with that rim running kind of center, shot blocking, rim running, thin, lanky, skinny, wiry type of center. You know what I mean? So see if he can dip back to those days and what they used to do with Marcus Camby. Of course, Marcus Camby could shoot the three too, and he could shoot the little mid range. But still, let me get to a phone call right quick and then get on to some other things. Caller, you live? What's poppin'?
Hey, what's going on? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, bro. What's up?
Hey, not much. So it's a couple things. First of all, I'm really the hires that the Knicks are making, not from them hiring the best person per se, but I'm just really glad that the front office and the coaching staff are on the same page. That's the most important thing, because last season and previous seasons we haven't really seen that, and I think that's really, really important. Second thing, I think
let me jump in. Let me jump in there for a second. You said about maybe they didn't hire the best person. What do you mean by that? Well,
let's think about it. We hired Leon Rose to be our president of basketball operations. He's never done that before. The best person for the job is Masai Ujiri. Or we could have waited for, let's say, the guy in Houston, Daryl Morey, to be, let go once Houston gets bumped from the playoffs this year. To hire him to be our president of basketball operations. We hired someone who's never did it. Jim Dolan hired Leon Rose because they had a relationship dated back 20 years. You get what I'm saying? William Wesley was hired to be in the front office because him and Leon Rose have a relationship. Tom Thibodeau was hired because Tom Thibodeau has a relationship with Wesley and Leon Rose. So we're not hiring the best guy for the job. We're just hiring people that have a relationship. You get what I'm saying? So I'm happy that everyone is on the same page. Second thing that I want to mention, you guys were talking about it earlier, was that what kind of offense is Thibodeau going to run? Well, that's going to be dictated by the players. We can't speculate, what kind of offense the guy's going to run. We don't have the players yet. Right? We're talking about what Thibodeau did in Chicago and what he did in Minnesota, but the players dictate that. Right.
But we have some players. But we have some players where you can kind of ask, how might he use that player? I mean, we have Mitchell Robinson, right? So we can ask, how he might use Mitchell Robinson.
Well, no, I mean, I know we have some players, but we don't have a winning roster. Let's just put all the cards on the table. We do not have a winning roster right now. We still need to go out and get players. Right? I am a serious advocate for the Knicks bringing back Carmelo Anthony. Why? Right?
Oh.
Carmelo Anthony was the only player that wanted to come here in the past 20 years, right? He helps us with culture. He's a future Hall of Famer. He's a Knicks legend. Let's just call it what it is. He is a Knicks legend. You know what I mean? We didn't win a championship when he was here, but he's the only person in the last 20 years that made us relevant. He can space the floor. That's something we need because RJ's a slasher, and then Mitchell Robinson's going to be in the paint, right? He's only making $2.5 million right now, so we can also bring him back on a veterans minimum or something like that. And he just helps us build culture. Like, we need culture in the locker room. We need players that can help us build culture. We're making all this premature talk about, because we have this coach, we have that coach. We need players. We need a roster. Our roster, we don't have a winning roster right now. And I think, it's just...
Listen, as much as I would love to see Carmelo Anthony back in the New York uniform, I just don't feel now is the right time. Not for the Knicks or for Carmelo. Carmelo is perfect in Portland right now. You know what I mean? Now, when some of the other guys come back next year, how will that work out? I don't know. But Carmelo is at the point in his career where he should just, he should be in the playoffs every year, trying to win a championship, and it's not happening with the Knicks. You know what I mean? And
what about for us though? What about for our culture? What about for the Knicks culture?
But that's
we dragged Charles
listen.
Oakley out the Garden. We forced Carmelo Anthony out of town.
But listen, that's what I'm saying, right? He's not going to be happy coming in playing for a team that's not winning because he's at a point where he needs to be in a winning situation. I don't think he's going to be happy coming and playing for a team that's not winning. And then having to take a secondary role on a team where he still might be the best player. And that doesn't work for our young guys who, like RJ, needs to develop into the best player. And then you have a guy like Carmelo who will come in and probably still be the best player on the team, but then you gotta work that balance. It's not good for either. He's on a team where he's the third or fourth leg, and he should be, right? And it works out, and he can accept that. You know what I mean? And the Knicks have a squad where it's like, okay, we have some guys who are trying to find their footing in the NBA. I get what you're saying about Carmelo and some of the things he can bring, but I think there's other players who may not expect as much of a role that can bring those things to the Knicks.
All I'm saying is I think as far as culture is concerned, the Knicks don't have any culture right now. We're hiring these coaches and we're hiring the front office to bring culture, but we don't have the players to bring that culture. In the past 20 years, the Knicks don't have anybody that can hang their hat on. Carmelo Anthony is the only person that can do that. Now, okay, if not Carmelo, what kind of players are we going to bring in here to change the culture of the team? Like when you think of all the great franchises in the NBA, you think of the Lakers, you think of the Celtics, you think of Golden State. They have players that they can hang their hat on saying this guy is a part of us. He's one of ours. And the Knicks just don't have that in the past 20 years. We don't have any of that. So why would any free agent want to come here? Carmelo Anthony was the only guy that kept us relevant. Man, that's all I got to say about that. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, man.
Can I say something real quick, Sim, to that? This is all your fault, man. This is honest to God all your fault.
Yo, I've always said this is not the right time.
I don't give a damn. You were on this Melo thing early, and then you chipped away from it as you started. It's like, all right, it was getting ridiculous.
Hey guys,
when Melo hit that shot, I forgot which game it was, and you were like, "Yo, Melo's cooking," blah blah. I knew this was gonna, and when I saw that yesterday, Evergreen hit me up.
He hit me up too. He hit me up too.
Are you just leave me alone about this Melo crap? Look. Again, all right, so the caller was wrong on so many fronts. Now, the person trying to come here for the Knicks was Stoudemire, first and initially, right?
Right.
Melo threatened to go to the Brooklyn Nets. He didn't say, all right, these guys are trying to build up a team. Let me come in the offseason. He ruined that. So, again, and when Melo, people talk about Knicks legends, right? We went to the playoffs, once or twice with Melo? Did we go to playoffs? Oh, yeah, we went to the playoffs twice, right? Because you lost the first round to the Celtics.
We went 3 years. We went 2000.
Yeah, we went like 3 or 4 years to the playoffs.
It wasn't 4 years. It was 3. The one where Melo got like triple team by the Celtics, and he scored like 40, 50.
2010, 2011, 2012, and 2013.
The playoffs. We went to the playoffs 4 years with Melo?
I think so. I think it was 4. If it wasn't 4, it was 3. But we had to look at it. But yeah, we went. You know, the only year that not the only year that we didn't go. Obviously, everything messed up in 2013, 14.
Yeah, we don't speak about that player's name.
Right.
Banyani.
So we sit here, right? We sit here and we want to anoint this guy because, look, he's doing well on a team that, again, they need touches from a stretch 4, right? They don't have that. They need that shooting up, so they have to give it to Melo. Melo still plays no defense. Don't get me wrong. The guy, look, he fits what he does well. He's a role player for that team, right? Like you said, you bring him into a locker room where you need development. You need a new voice. And again, Thibodeau tried this with your man, who I like, Jimmy Butler, and it didn't work. And I'm not saying it's going to be the same thing with the Knicks, but you can't bring a guy who is let's be honest, he's a divisive figure in regards to Knicks fans, right? There are people who love him, there are people who hate him, right? And there's not much nuance in between, right? You can't bring a guy like that in because, again, if he comes to his team, right, and we're struggling, but we're trying to find an identity, right? So we might be playing certain players who we're like, oh, yeah, he's not better than Melo. But, again, long-term, you're trying to develop these guys. Melo might come in and be like, why the hell should I be playing for this team? He might cause division in the locker room. He might do the same. You know, he might bring it in where people might hate him, and it's the whole Jimmy Butler versus the Wolves thing again. So this guy, again, you have these Melo fanatics who look at this stuff with no nuance. Thibodeau needs to come in here. He needs to be the voice. I think they're doing good with the coaches, bringing these coaches in where there's one unified voice. They bring in who their so-called leaders are. They flush out the guys. You don't bring in retreads like Melo. Hop off this Melo thing and then just enjoy Melo having fun with the Blazers. The first game is tomorrow. Have fun with that. Let the Melo stuff go. He is not a Knick legend. Knick legends are who? Walt Clyde Frazier, Patrick Ewing, Dave DeBusschere. Let's keep it for those guys. Let's not Earl the Pearl Monroe. Melo is not a Knick legend. Stop.
Yeah, so just to chime in real quick, Sam.
Go ahead, Isaiah.
Shout out to everybody right now. Hey, shout out to Andy. What's up, man? What's going on? Good afternoon, everybody. No, so when it comes to Melo, the reason why I wouldn't want him on the team, just to kind of piggyback what Gilmer was saying, is to me, I feel like Melo, even without him even knowing, he would probably, to me, revert back to his old ways and be back on this team.
Yes.
Because, when it, like Gilmer said, to me, next year, hopefully, God willing, I'm looking for 35 wins. That's good to me if we can do that. So we're going to be losing. So when it comes to that, we have, like Gilmore said, we have to establish an identity. Whether we lose or we win, we have to establish an identity within these first year or two. We should establish our identity of who we are as a team and what we want to be. So if you have Melo, and again, to me, it wouldn't even be Melo's fault. It'd be the fault of us losing so much, and we need a spark of orange because we all know there's going to be that Knicks game where, Carmelo would turn back the time. He'll score 35. And then and it's not his fault. It'd be like, the media, whoa, man, we got 2012 Melo back. Let's do the ISO thing again with Melo. Let's do this with Melo. It's, to me, it would just put a lot of pressure on Melo because, like you said, what he got in Portland right now, to me, is perfect for where he's at in his life. He's behind two stars. He's behind a superstar, and he's behind a star, and he could be the third guy. He could be the third or fourth guy if you want to count Nurkic as the third star, if you want to. So Melo's literally the third or fourth guy, which is perfect for him right now. So I wouldn't want to make him go to being either, being the first guy again. His time is up as being that guy. So.
And
he's
with
perfect.
Guys we can pick up. There are plenty of guys. Like, I'm not saying we'll have another situation like Marcus Morris. That was kind of extreme after the whole Spurs and even the Clippers thing before, where his agent, LeBron's agent, screwed it up purposely. But you can pick up guys. You can make smart pickups. Like, I thought Marcus Morris was good for some of our younger guys like Frank, RJ, giving them the kind of battery in their back to play to a certain level. And the thing about it is that I don't get that with Melo. And it's not to say we can't pick it up. Again, if Melo was a guy who was giving out all on defense, then yeah, you bring him in, and he's a guy that Thibodeau could point to as a general on the court, and you could kind of build around that identity. Hey, if Melo's doing it at 30-something, and that's Thibodeau's guy, I should be doing it, right? Or Marcus Morris, where he's encouraging guys to take shots. He's encouraging Frank Ntilikina on the court during the game to be aggressive. I don't see that from Melo. So we gotta stop making these guys to be bigger than what they are just because they're having a few games here and there in a bubble playoffs. Because if Melo, I swear, if Melo goes 0 for 5 tomorrow and they get blown up by 20 by the Lakers, that guy's not gonna call in again till I don't know when. So let's stop with this Melo stuff. They're veterans. We could pick it up. No. I'm not hating on. I'm actually hoping he does well tomorrow. I don't want the Lakers to win. I like the Lakers. I like the Blazers, but I'm saying if that happens, then all that Melo talk, because you know what, Sim? When we say Jared Jack is a good leader, a good guy to have on a bench,
I love Jared Jack.
Marcus Morris, it made sense. DeAndre Jordan made perfect sense for Mitch. Where does Melo come in, especially when he could play the 3 as well too, not just a 4, maybe a slower 3, but he'll be taking up and the 3-4 position probably our most contested team. RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Kevin Knox. Where is he going to get the space? Like,
maybe Iggy too. I'll be real with you, Sam. He simmed up.
Not at all.
There it comes.
Yo, Sim, they say you're muted. Muted. Sim, they say you're muted.
Yo,
so he sent me again. So I'll go back and I say it again for it just with having all these guys at that 3-4 spot, RJ, Knox, maybe Iggy, Julius Randle, sometimes Taj Gibson if he's still around can play that 4 spot.
Hey Sim, they say you still muted, Sim.
That's because it's a 20-second delay. Right, no. It's still at that 4 spot, so there's just no room. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever unless they plan on moving some guys around and those type of things. You know what I mean? Melo is, he is where he is. I'd like to see him finish his career out there in Portland, but I'm not gonna lie to you. Just like Evergreen sent me the same text, and I told him, I was like, I love Melo, but it just doesn't make sense. And then he was like, yeah, I know it doesn't make sense, but just for nostalgia. And look, if the Knicks
get past that, man.
Well, I mean, listen. There's gonna be people who have favorite players in the NBA, and if your favorite player comes to your team, you're gonna be happy. And I'm not gonna lie. Even though I know that it would be wrong if the Knicks brought him back, I'm going to support him. Be like, okay, let's get it. I'm not going to lie. If I was the general manager, would I do it? No, I would not do it if I was the general manager. Or if I was Leon Rose.
Right? So, Sam, here's my thing. Right? I would be more than willing to good product placement right there. I'd be more than willing to get Melo back when we start winning. When we're, to me, maybe a dark horse. Or when we get to the point where we can win a championship. Yes, bring Melo as that, whatever guy, and make your fans happy. They do that.
Yeah,
listen, because he is one of my favorite players. Just like when Patrick Ewing's son was trying out with the Knicks, I was like, yo, pick him up. I want Patrick Ewing's son on the Knicks. You know what I'm saying?
There's youth, there's like hope. Like y'all talking about Melo. Oh, let's bring in like nostalgia. Like I'm failing to understand.
I don't think it's about bringing in nostalgia for him to win. It's not about bringing in nostalgia for him to win. And it's not like that caller was saying culture building. Melo wasn't the whole problem with the culture, but he comes from an era when the culture wasn't good, at least the last few years, right? The first few years it was good, then the last few years with Phil Jackson and all that. He comes from a time when it wasn't good. So, bringing back culture, he's not really bringing back any kind of culture to the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? So, but go ahead, Mark. What was you going to say? You was trying to get in there.
I said when Gamero hit, Melo name is a trigger word now.
No, because it's just like, it was nice that he hit the shot yesterday. I give him a lot of credit. That was beautiful. But it's like Knicks fans are in love with the idea of Melo. Like the idea that Melo represented of this
like a love story,
New York, and we're gonna finally win one. And it's like, nah, it didn't. It's like, all right, Melo came here. It was not as glorious as we thought it was. I mean, he did put up numbers for a few years, but Melo was not this complete superstar. So it's not. I don't even hate Melo. I respect Melo, but it's like
wasn't too bad.
When I look at him, I'm just like, all right, well, you didn't do it, boss, and you weren't that great. You kind of ruined what we were trying to build. You could have been a part of it. So you don't represent like Patrick Ewing. Remember Patrick Ewing for all the battles he went through, and he didn't win. Is like, yo, that guy is like, you could see it, you feel it. Like we were right there. 94 should have been our year. We're up 3-2. John Starks did terrible in Game 7. He did great in Game 6. We were right there. But this Melo thing, I'm just like, what? Like
Melo the guy.
Don't get me wrong.
Yo, Melo is a New York dude. That's why.
He's from Maryland, dude. He's a Maryland dude. He's a Maryland dude. Yeah.
No. Hold on. He was in New York till he was like 10 years old, bro. He was in New York till he was like 10 years old or something like that. And then he went to Maryland. Then he came back. He spent more of his life in New York than in Maryland.
Sim. Let's okay. He's not on the Knicks no more. Let's talk about this. That boy know he's from Maryland.
Bro, he spent more of his life in New York than Maryland.
Man, he's a whole
even Brooklyn. Bro, is Jordan a Brooklyn dude?
But he didn't spend but he moved to North Carolina at like what? two years old?
Yeah, that don't count.
He didn't even go to school in New
That
York.
boy from Fort Greene, huh?
Like Melo at least went to school. Melo at least went to school in New York. Left, went to Baltimore. And even in Baltimore, he spent a lot of his time in Virginia because he was going to school in Virginia. At Oak Hill Academy.
But it was taken away.
Sim, Kevin's not going to know about
Odin Polynice is from New York. That don't mean, like, y'all don't, come on, man. That don't mean nothing.
Listen, man. Melo's a New York dude, bro. Melo's still a New York dude,
but they just don't end up playing for the Knicks.
That's the trigger word now. Melo's the trigger word. We want to get anybody.
Listen, Mark, we know we say KP 3 times. You come out of nowhere, Mark.
Listen, look, we already know. Whenever the Blazers get eliminated, and of course, you know, you've seen the thumbnail. I got Damian Lillard and Carmelo Anthony on the thumbnails. We're going to talk about the NBA playoffs, right? Whenever they get eliminated and free agency hits, and you know who's, you know, people going to be coming back to going back to Portland next year. They don't know what's going to happen with Melo. You already know there's going to be rumors about him coming back to New York. You already know it. All summer long. So you might as well prepare for it. Not summer. In October, next month, when free agency hits. It's going to be rumors about it. So y'all might as well get your caps ready.
KP come back.
You said KP coming back? You might as well bring Melo and KP back, huh?
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my
that
gosh.
Boy triggered over there.
KP. If this dude mentions KP, by the way, who they play tomorrow? No, they don't play Houston. They play
Clippers. Don't lose that.
That should be so fun to watch to watch KP, because everybody listen to this, man. If KP doesn't show up, if KP flops, because you know Luka's going to do his thing. If KP flops, if he gets blocked by like Patrick Beverly, if he gets shut down by, I don't want to hear Mark talk about KP this or KP that, bro. Because this, you extol how great this dude is.
You see what you doing here? You put
what?
Listen. You're putting it to you. You're trying to cap. You're trying to cap. This is first year in the playoffs.
That was his first year in the playoffs. Now
first year in the playoffs.
You can't judge him.
Every player, he's going to struggle.
Hello.
I know he's going to struggle in the playoffs.
Yeah, let me get to this phone call. Caller, you live. What's poppin'?
Hey, what's up, Sam? This is Mike from New York, man. I'm glad I got a chance to get through to the show, and I want to say, give a hand up, clap out, shout out to the chat and to the show, man. Great show.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate you.
All right, I love Kyle Lewis Jr. and Jalen Smith. If we get those two players in this draft, we will have officially rebuilt through the draft. Everybody's sleeping on Jalen Smith, but he is a fine product. He's a sophomore. He shoots outside. He's inside outside. I love Mitch, but I got to see Mitch post up. I got to see him be aggressive on offense, be a threat. Everybody's talking about this money that he's supposed to get with this new agent. I'm not talking about none of that until I see Mitch not do it in practice. I want to see it on the floor. Now, Payne is supposed to help the big men train, and Anthony Davis gave him the heads up when he was a rookie. He went head-to-head with Anthony Davis, Mitch did, and he held his own. So I want to see that on the court. I never see it on the court.
I mean, you know, he's still learning and developing. He's had some games, though. You know, he's had some games. Think about it with Mitch, right? Mitch has a hefty learning curve. He went from being, you know, playing in high school where, you know, you look at his size and his length, there wasn't a whole lot of teaching him how to post up. Who was he going to post up against? There was nobody his size, right? So they just used what he could do. Run to the basket, block shots, dunk all over everybody because he was taller than everybody. He takes a year off. Right, he takes a year off where he's not working with professional trainers. He's working with his uncle, and I'm not saying his uncle's, you know, not doing a good job, but you know, he's working with his uncle. He's not working with a professional trainer. And then, you know, so he's off for a year, and then he's thrown into the NBA. So there's a big learning curve for Mitch, and I think he's picked it up pretty good.
Yeah, I love Mitch. Don't get me wrong, I love Mitch now, but I want to see him do more. I know he can do more. I've seen his high school tapes. I'm like, where's the shot outside? I've never seen him shoot an outside shot in a game. have a
Probably
go-to
calling
move,
plays for him.
attack aggressively the offense. See, when you give it to a guy, I mean, I've seen Mitch pass it off and never look at the rim, and he have a clear run to the rim. I'm like, come on, Mitch. But then I seen him get aggressive and do his thing. But I gotta look at the Knicks too. They got these one and done free agents who had their own agenda, and they didn't develop the youth much. I mean, Kevin Knox, I love Knox. Knox is going to be all right. I'm not worried about Knox. I love that Payne is there. He's going to help develop these guys, and that's what needs to be done. I want to get back to the draft. I want to say that if I got the number one, Anthony Edwards all day. If I get the number two, I'm looking at Wiseman. I seen a tape recently on Wiseman. I'm saying, damn, he's using that right strong. He does the same workout as Cat. Everybody's talking about Cat. Wiseman doing the same workout, and he's rookie. And he's got post up, and he's got a jumper. And Mitch and him can interchange between power forward and center. They're bouncy, they're agile, they both play defense. I'm not even looking at what's this kid we have at power forward now. They need to trade him. I mean, I don't care what he did at Kentucky. Julius Randle, come on, spin cycle Randle. He impressed me at all this year. I'm sad about him, and I want to, give him a chance somewhere else, and we can get an asset for him. But we got to pick up other assets and build through the draft. The New York Liberty did it. It's just these are the things we got to look at. It could be done. We can do it. Other teams do it. Do you know that the Grizzlies are now talking about trading their center? What's his name? Villashonis, or what's his name is? They're trying to trade him for an asset. They're trying to move up and get Wiseman. Now, if they get Wiseman, they're going to have a hell of a team. And Boston. Boston's always in the cut. They got like 3 or 4 first-round draft picks. They sit back and wait for you to make a mistake, and they capitalize.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to see what – I mean, we'll see, man. As far as Mitch, though, I think I understand the concern with Mitch. And I'm, like I said earlier, I'm a little bit concerned about, how things are going to work out with, not work out, but just I want to see where Tom Thibodeau is going to use him. Yeah, and then we'll see. Hey, my man, I appreciate the call, man.
All right, thank you.
Definitely, man. Have a great Sunday.
All right. Thank you.
Great call.
All right,
Mitch just got to stay close to that. Mitch just got to stay in his role, man. He's not one of them 3-point shooters.
Facts.
3-point shooting big man.
Right. I feel until he develops it. Though. I mean, until he develops it. Until he develops it.
Man.
But you still want to make the defense honest. I mean,
that's why I would keep him at his skill set.
You can't have him, shooting 3 or 4 3-pointers. But if the situation presents itself, I don't mind him taking it.
Yeah.
You know how they leave the big man open? He got it. He got it.
Right.
But if he can produce like a Tyson Chandler mid range, I'm cool. That opens up a lot. If he can get the Tyson Chandler mid range, it opens up a lot.
Before he went to Dallas and New Orleans, when he came in the league, he had a jump shot, but then he turned into that defensive big. So listen, man, I just think Mitch is going to be a defensive stopper for this team more likely, more than an offensive threat to an extent that we want him to be. I don't see that happening. It's going to be his defense that we're going to be happy with more than his offense.
Mark, we still want to make the defense honest, right?
Yeah, but when like I said, you have to have a point guard with him to make him, because the way he moves around the floor, he's able to make slip cuts and all that other stuff, and picking slips where he drives to the basket. That's more of his game. He's going to be more of Amari going to the basket than him being a shooting big.
But Mark, you want to know what the problem is, though, Mark? Mark, wait, hold on 1 second, Guillermo. So wait, hold on a second. So here's the problem, though, Mark, with why I'm kind of more big on Mitchell's defense is because, like, for example, right, Rudy Gobert. This to me is the perfect example of why he needs to at least develop.
He could be better.
But here's the thing, though, right? So they're about to pay Rudy Gobert, like, he's going to get paid up to like $30-something million a year. And the problem with that is that Rudy Gobert is probably one of the best defending big men in the world. He's a great defensive big man. But when it comes to the playoffs, though,
he gets exposed.
He gets exposed every year. We're probably going to see it this year again when they stretch the flow out. He can't do anything. So again, this is why it's really big for Mitchell because listen, we're talking about his contract now, but after a while, man, we're gonna blink and his contract's gonna be over and he's not gonna be getting paid $2 million, $1 million. That's why he fired that agent who gave Sim the piece of wood. But no, he's gonna get. I'm sorry, man. He's gonna get his money. That was hilarious. But he's gonna get his money, man. So this is where we gotta harp on him now. That him developing a jump shot because he's gonna. Let's face the facts. Mitchell is gonna get paid $18-20 million most likely, and that's just the bare minimum.
Ooh, you think a year?
Nah,
yeah, Mitchell
per year? I don't think
Robinson.
no. I don't think unless Mitch comes out and averages 18 and 10 this year.
Yeah, that's the
And,
only.
and 3-4 blocks a game. I don't see him making $20 million a year.
All right, let's be modest. Okay, let's be
Not
a
right
little
now.
more modest there. Let's say $15 million. Now we paying 15. If we paying $15 million, what's the point of him just being a defensive big? And when we get to the playoffs, it's 4-on-5. So what do we really got to do? So he got to when he's getting paid this little bit of money, he got to start working on that jumper because he's gonna ask for that money, and I want him to at least have a jump shot, something. So that when we come to playoff times, he's not getting exposed.
I mean,
I totally agree because you look at what happened yesterday with Memphis and Portland. They're two big men. They can hit a jump shot, even a three.
Valanciunas is very underrated, man. He's very, very underrated.
I mean, listen, I think with Mitch, he's going to ask for what he's worth. His people, they're going to, and based on what happens this year, they're going to understand. Actually, the Knicks have an option for next season. He's on the books for this season coming up. Then there's an option for the following season, I believe. Right, so they're going to assess where he is and ask for the right amount of money. If they ask for something crazy, they know they're not going to get it, so they're going to ask for the right amount of money with him. Let's talk about. Well, actually, let's talk about the Delete 8 real quick. They're not going to have it, I guess. Good. I wanted the Knicks. I wanted these guys to get together a little bit, though.
Yeah, no,
one at a time.
Low-key would be great. Let me take that back. That would be great. Because I do want to see the Knicks play, even though they suck.
Yeah, no, but it's not even about them sucking. It's about them like you can't go from playing a professional sport and having to stop playing in March. When they stop playing March?
Oh, they started playing in March.
Months.
Yeah, man, dude, that's too long for professional athletes not to play a professional sport. We're going to be looking terrible, more than what we already do. So they need to play. They need to play. Me personally.
And these teams that are, these teams that made it to the bubble league. I mean, obviously the situation made it all crazy, but some of these teams, they get that chance. They got that chance to get their 8 games in if they didn't make the playoffs. Correct. So that they could get some run in, stay sharp, stay in shape. And then now things go quick, right? The playoffs are here. October's the draft, free agency. Then bam, November they'll start training camps. I guess in November or something like that. I think that's the way it's set up.
And like December, like what? And the second week of December is the NBA season. That's it.
Right. So. But some of these guys, the guys that the Delete 8, I mean, they're not going to play you're going to go from March till November.
Damn.
That's insane.
You know what I'm saying? That's a lot.
That's insane.
That's a hamstring waiting away.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's Mitchell Robinson is gonna foul out in 30 seconds.
Knicks players too. So.
Hey, Sam, let me ask you a question. Are they allowed to? Are teams allowed to? Like after the finals, since we're going to be so close to the start of the season, are teams allowed to let their players come in and work out with each other?
With that, no, because technically that's not. Wouldn't it be?
Not yet, Isaiah. That's why they deleted the 8 teams. They didn't allow that to happen. Now they're talking about making group practices for the deleted 8 teams.
Right. So I don't know if they're going to be allowed to. I do know, like right now, those 8 teams, they can do individual workouts at their facilities with one coach and no more than 4 players.
It would be great if Thibodeau can get many of those guys, into the gym and just assess them. I mean, I'm sure he's probably assessed, from the film and everything, but I'm sure he wants to see what it is that he can help them with to reach their true potential.
Right. What's up, Ron? Been a minute, man. How you feeling?
Man.
Isaiah, what's up? What's good?
What's up, Mr.
Oh, this is Ron. Oh, okay. Hey, Ron, how you doing?
Man, hey, good, man. Hey, I'm actually sitting on my elliptical, man, getting it in, man, getting it in.
There you go, brother.
Okay.
Hey, Ron, it's fun to finally see who you are, man.
He looking like a young me out there.
Hey, man. Hey, I was at 187 pounds back in April. I'm down to 168.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Good work. Good work, bro.
Yeah, man, working hard. Hey, eating too, though. That's the main thing, man. I don't eat past 7 o'clock, man. I cook all my own meals. I don't eat out of none of that.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Man, God bless you. That's not me.
All right.
Yeah, that definitely ain't Isaiah. That's not Isaiah.
Wait. Oh, Sim, I know you ain't talking to
That is not Isaiah, bro.
Hey, Sim, I know we got Wawa like 12 o'clock.
You know what I'm saying? I know. I mean, yeah. So we go. Listen, my fault, Ron. We go to Wawa. I get a sandwich. Right, I get a little 6-inch sandwich and something to drink.
Oh, man.
Right, this man gets a sandwich, a bowl of rice and beans, a freaking shake. You know what I'm saying? A shake, box of donuts.
Hey, Sam, he gets the large
shake at 12.
Let me say something, man.
So go ahead, Ron.
I had to jump on, man. I was trying to call you, Sim. I couldn't get through it. I was like, man, I can't let y'all disrespect Melo like that. Man.
Oh, come on, Ron.
Hey, I'm gonna reasoning on this now.
I'm with you, Ron.
I'm not saying bring him back. I'm not with that. Not with Melo that is real. But we got to put some respect on Melo's name, man. Melo wasn't no slouch for us. And when you think about all the players that we done cycled through the Knicks, man. Melo is right there since Patrick Ewing left as one of the best players that we brought in. We got to give him that respect. We got to give him that. But the problem with us, man, and y'all know this, true Knicks fans know this, man. I was just sitting down thinking the other day, man, we done recycled so many coaches, man. These guys come in and they all have these resumes, and then when they get to New York, it seems like the light's too bright for them. You know what I mean? I had hope that David Fizdale shocked me. I'm really shocked by how he panned out. Jeff Hornacek the same way. Derek Fisher, I wasn't surprised. He was a new coach. But when you look at the guy we got right now, Woodson was good. I respected Woodson. Really, what hampered Melo, man, was being under what's the guy? The coach in Houston.
Mike D'Antoni.
If we had better coach than D'Antoni with Melo when we first got Melo, it would have been a total different ball game. But the thing is, man, with us, man, right now, anybody that's hating this Tom Thibodeau hire, I guarantee you, you're gonna be eating crow, man. I'm telling you, the dude is legit. And now what I'm loving is that dude don't have to focus on nothing but coaching. That's all he has to do. And I'm sitting there watching. Sam, I'm sitting here watching that video that you showed with Mitchell Robinson. I'm like, I don't know what got into Mitchell Robinson, but Mitchell Robinson's handle looks better than Kevin Knox. His handle looks better than Kevin Knox. Let's be real.
It's practice, Ron. It's practice, Ron. Don't let her fall in love with you, man.
That ain't even practice. They just
practice. I've been watching him practice. His handles don't look tight. So, he's doing a bunch of jump shots. But with the Knicks, man, I'm telling y'all right now,
out of these videos.
Don't be surprised if Portland shock LA and watch how Melo ball in that series, man.
Wait.
Melo is going to average about 15 to 20 a game in that series.
Wait, 28?
What about
no? 15,
he said 15 to 20.
15 to 20.
Oh, Melo's going to go off in the playoffs.
He's going to get 15 to 20 because they're going to have to try to stop Dame.
And what about exactly?
Melo's going to go off.
So, Ron, let me say this though, Ron. I want to go back to what something you said that was important, right? About I think so. You know what? You know what really made me change or what Tom Thibodeau? I don't know if y'all seen that video that went viral with Monty Williams when he gave that speech to the Suns before the game or after the game.
Yeah, he's a man.
You know what, man? It made me really think that, you know what, Monty has a lot of respect. And don't get me wrong, David Fielder had respect, but at his best, he's an assistant coach. Jeff Hornacek, it shocked me. It shocked me a little bit with Jeff. Well, not really. He was kind of a pawn. But, you know, with Tom Thibodeau, man, I really do believe he can bring the cultural change that we need personally, man. And I do believe, and especially now that we got the assistant coach, Payne. Is his name Payne?
Kenny Payne.
Kenny Payne.
Coach,
bro. Knox old coach.
Bro.
Yeah, so I do believe that, because, listen, regardless of what you say about Tom Thibodeau, he gets his teams into the playoffs.
Yep.
He does. I'll give him that. He gets his team. But, to go back onto the Portland thing, nah, man. I'm telling you right now, Lakers in 5.
Nah, that series going 7 games now.
Lakers in 5.
Going 7.
Anybody want to make a little bet?
Okay, well, hey, listen.
It's hot right now.
Well,
And
listen,
the Lakers is not doing so well.
We're gonna get to the playoffs a little bit. We're gonna get to the playoffs a little bit later. That's gonna be only on Sportscaster, so I'm letting you guys know now. Once we talk about these NBA lottery odds, we're gonna skip over and go to Sportscaster, and we're just gonna talk about. Hold up, Mark. We're just gonna talk about the NBA playoffs. So make sure that you join us on Sportscaster, because it's gonna be a good talk. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna break it down from top to the bottom.
Hey, can I do a shameless plug real quick? Can I do a shameless
No.
plug?
No.
Let me do my shameless plug.
We are going to talk. Nobody wants to hear your shameless plug. We're going to talk about the NBA lottery odds and the NBA lottery.
See how they silence me, Andy? This is just because I'm a black man caught up in the mix.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yo, you've been funny, bro. You've been funny lately. I give you that.
Me?
Wow.
I've been funny.
This might be the year we win the lottery. I'm serious. This might be the year we win the lottery.
Ron, don't play like that. Don't play like that.
I was sitting thinking with that name, Mark, man. I'm like, we ain't got no expectations for the lottery.
One at a time. Hold up. One at a time. There's a lot of people in here, so you gotta let people finish talking. Cause it's gonna be all kinds of stuff. Go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, I was sitting thinking, man. I said, this is the one year we ain't expecting to win this lottery, man. We ain't going in there wide open and saying, hey, we gonna win this year like in previous years. You know what I mean? So, hey, we got a new regime. The whole house is clean. Hey, why not us? That's my motto. Why not us? Somebody's gonna win it. Why not us?
I feel you on it. It's just when you say why not us, it's like there's not much that we can do to control it. So
yeah, Hey Sam, just to throw the conspiracy out there, and I got you next, Kev. 2 of James Dolan teams got the first pick this year.
Hey,
2 of James Dolan teams got the number 1 pick.
Yeah, let's go for the hat trick.
Let's go for the triple crown, man. Let's do it. even though he did sell the Liberty before they got the 1 pick, but it's still James Dolan team.
All right. Hey, I mean, listen. Obviously, I want the number 1 pick, so it's not like I don't. Hey, all right. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at the NBA lottery odds right now. All right. So I'm gonna bring this on over here. We'll take a look at the lottery odds.
I don't like it.
I be clicking tech on every day. I be clicking
up there.
Yeah. So right now, you have the Warriors, the Cavaliers, and the Timberwolves. They all have a 14% chance of getting the first pick. All right. The Warriors, the Cavaliers, and the Timberwolves have a 14% chance of getting the first pick. The Hawks have a 12.5% chance of getting the first pick. The Pistons have a 10.5% chance. The Knicks have a 9% chance, and the Bulls have a 7.5% chance. All right, on the second pick, the Warriors got a 13.4%. The Warriors, Cavaliers, and Timberwolves, they all have the same percentages until you get down to the 5th pick. So the Warriors, Cavaliers, and Timberwolves have a 13.4% chance of getting that second pick. The Hawks, 12.2%. The Pistons, 10.5%. And the Knicks have a 9.2% chance of getting the second pick. On the third pick, the Warriors, Cavaliers, Timberwolves have a 12.7% chance of getting the third pick. The Knicks got a 9.4% chance of getting the third pick. The fourth pick, the Warriors, Cavaliers, Timberwolves have a 12% chance. The Knicks have a 9.6% chance. Now, for whatever reason, the Knicks don't have a chance of getting the fifth pick. So the Warriors have a 47.9% chance of getting the fifth pick. The Cavaliers have a 27.8% chance. The Timberwolves have a 14.8% chance. The Hawks have a 7.2% chance, and the Pistons have a 2.2% chance. The Knicks and Bulls don't have any percentage chances of getting the fifth pick. I don't understand it, but anyway, when you talk about the sixth pick, the Knicks have an 8.6% chance of getting the sixth pick. Then when you talk about the seventh pick, the Knicks have a 29.8% chance of getting the seventh pick, a 20.6% chance of getting the eighth pick, a 3.7% chance of getting the ninth pick, and then a 0.1% chance of getting the 10th pick. Bro, if they get the 10th pick, yeah, if they get the 10th pick, if the Knicks get the 10th pick, and they only got a 0.1% chance of getting a 10th pick, and they get the 10th pick, I mean, if that happens,
the Knicks' luck.
Bro, if that happens, everything is lost for us. I'm sorry.
Sim, I'm going to say this. You know what I'd be more mad about, Sim? I'd be more mad if the Warriors get the number one pick. That would make me more mad.
I mean, but they got a 14% chance. Like, they got the Warriors, the Cavs, and the Timberwolves have the highest percent chance of getting that.
We had the worst record to get Zion, and we still got the third pick. Them Negroes better get the third pick or worse. I know that's a fact. Watch them get the number one pick.
Well, they got a 47.9% chance of getting the fifth pick, so.
That was us last year. I was thanking God we didn't.
I mean, listen, when you think about it, right? If the Warriors get the first, second, even if they don't get the first pick, if they get the second, third, or fourth pick, they still defy the odds because chances are they're going to get the fifth pick.
Yeah, it's almost a 50% chance.
It's almost a 50% chance that they get the fifth pick.
But Sam, this looks like we're gonna end up around 7th and 8th. Like that's gonna be our like worst case scenario. So we're gonna go back. We're gonna go back to 8th if that's the worst thing. Listen, if we go back to 8th, yo, bro, I'm making a Hail Mary pick of a player. I'm sorry.
So look, the Knicks have a 37. The Knicks right now are seeded. What is it? 6th place, right? The Knicks have a 37.2% chance of moving up on lottery night, right? They have roughly an equal chance, about a 9% chance of picking first, second, third, or fourth, because they have a 9% chance to get first, 9.2% chance of getting second, 9.4% chance of getting third, and a 9.6% chance of getting fourth place. All right, so, I mean...
Hey, Sam, real quick. I'm probably going to be in a minority with this, but I don't care where we pick, because now that we have the scout from the Jazz, who's been, doing the Jazz picks, for a long time, and he's always been on point. Now that we have him, my trust is in him now. If we didn't have him, yeah, I'd be very pissed if we got like the 10th pick or something like that.
I'm gonna say this: if we pick anywhere from 8th, I'm telling y'all right now, my pick will be the kid from Stanford, Tyler Terry. He will be the perfect guard. I totally forgot about him and his play. If you're looking for a guy to shoot, play without the ball, make playmaking skills, I advise anybody in this chat, just go look at that boy play. So if he could scout him, I will be A-okay. But I am just afraid, bro. I am afraid. I am afraid, son.
Here's a can of worms for you. I'm gonna open up a new can of worms. What if you get number one? Who you taking?
We know who Mark's taking.
I'm taking Edwards number one.
Taking Anthony Edwards. Yeah, you got to.
You take him. He's a number one.
Listen, y'all gonna kill me for this, and I'm gonna save this from my video that I'm doing. Shameless plug, real quick. What I'm just doing. Listen, the shameless plug, I'm doing it, Sim. I don't care. You can mute me after. So, there's an announcement I'm doing, guys, just to do. Because my big brother is doing a video Thursday. He's streaming, which is going to get 4,000 views. We know how we going to do on Thursday. everybody come on that day.
Get to your point.
Shut up, Guillermo. You gonna make if my mom comes in here, I'm gonna fight you.
What we talking about again?
So what I'm doing on Wednesday, Sim, I'm gonna pretty much, we're gonna do a draft day. We're gonna worry about the sixth pick or the first.
So you're gonna do a
pick.
mock draft. You're gonna do a mock draft.
We're gonna do a little
for
mock
the
draft,
Knicks.
And
For the Knicks.
Yeah, for the Knicks. And my special guest is gonna be Guillermo. Is gonna be in the video chat with me that day, and we're gonna be doing a joint video.
Dude is so cheesy, bro.
We're gonna do a joint video together on Wednesday.
Yeah,
you gotta do the drum roll.
That was cheesy, but that was funny.
Listen, we're gonna do a joint video, me and Guillermo. Hopefully, Andy, if it's not too late or too early. I forgot how Poland works. If it's not too early or late for Andy, I want him to jump in there, and we're gonna talk the Knicks, and we're gonna do it. But we're gonna say Thursday for the superstar for Sim, because I don't want to take his views on Thursday. Because I could if I wanted to, but I'm not.
Okay, you see that? So look, Thursday we're gonna be on at 8:00. I'm jumping on at 8:00. The NBA lottery is at 8:30. So we're gonna jump on at 8:00. We'll go over these odds again, talk about some stuff, and then after we find out what the Knicks are picking, we'll start to talk about
we gonna get like
what we doing?
Views.
What we doing? What we doing? Where we going? What we doing?
Yo, Sim, that's gonna be a spicy night, yo. Somebody gonna get hurt that night.
It's gonna be great.
Somebody gonna get hurt that night. I'm gonna have to walk outside and hurt somebody.
We'll put the Timbs on.
The live reactions I'm gonna tell you right now, the live reactions are gonna be priceless. Wherever we fall on Thursday, it's gonna be priceless.
This is gonna be somebody's face. It's gonna be somebody's face.
The Timbs on. I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
Yo, Kevin, what was you about to say, man? You about to ask a question.
The consensus from everybody that if we did get to number one, that it has to be Edwards.
LaMelo.
It's a weak draft. Guys, it is a weak draft. I mean, even LaMelo, we are looking at LaMelo. Everybody's, I don't want to say overhyping him, but because it's a weak draft, bro. You think Melo would go over, say, a John Moran? Melo might not even go over, say, even over a John Wall. When John Wall,
he would he would not, because John Wall was amazing.
John Wall was different.
When you look at Edwards, I think Edwards in a way reminds me of like a hyperactive
Joe Johnson. He reminds me of hyper Joe Johnson, bro.
Right? And unfortunately, Oladipo in that draft, I mean, he went, fourth or whatever?
Oh, that's another one.
When you look at Edwards, he is clearly above, all the competition this year, let's be honest. So
he could score all 3 levels.
Let's not try to be cute.
Hold up. Let him finish.
I'm sorry.
You put him at the 2. You have him and RJ, and he would fit perfectly with what Thibodeau wants to do. Dogs in the backcourt, and you got a dog at the forward and RJ Barrett. So let's not, LaMelo.
But
let's not play around.
But Guillermo, though, so here let me be devil's advocate, right? Let me be devil's advocate to you real quick. So when it comes to, we're projecting this draft to be underwhelming. We're projecting it to be underwhelming. We don't know that completely. I'm not saying, of course, there's not the big names like last year, and honestly, even last year was truly underwhelming if you really think about it. Like, for example, right? I always go back to 2014 was one of the most hyped drafts. We all heard about that.
That was a horrible draft.
People will hype that draft. That draft was supposed to be next to 03 and 96. That's how hyped they had that draft. And I remember they literally compared Andrew Wiggins to Kobe. I remember.
No, hold on. I'm gonna say this. If you watch Andrew Wiggins' just skill set alone and his athleticism, bro, it's off the charts. Prior to what you seen him as, when he was coming in, his athleticism was off the charts and his skill set was there, bro.
Athleticism, not his skill set. His skill set was...
Bro, no. Well, hold on. His
skill set was that he wasn't a dependable shooter. He didn't have any of those discernible skills. All his hype was based off of athleticism. You go back to all the draft board or all the draft information outside of the hype of he's going to play with LeBron. It was his issues that he was this ultra athletic player. That's why now a lot of scouts or people...
They question his motive.
When was the last time you seen a number one draft pick the number one draft pick who made it big as a star in the NBA based on purely athleticism? Because Andrew Wiggins was the last player to represent that. So again, that like him himself, he was just like if you watch Anthony Edwards, even though his efficiencies weren't high, he has places on the floor where he likes to be when he takes certain shots. He has a lot more than
just like Wiggins, bro. Just like Wiggins too.
No. Wiggins coming to the draft was not that, bro. Wiggins coming to draft was no one had a real discernible say, oh, he likes the elbow, he likes the corner three. No one knew because it was just like, all right, this ultra athletic player, and everyone hyped up because he was going to play next to LeBron. Everybody's like, oh, he
had a little mid range.
Bro, he had a mid range in college.
Yeah, he had a mid range.
The dude was that good.
Go back to the scout reports. I'm not making this crap up. Go back to the scout reports. It was purely, I want to say purely.
It was more of his motor. The people had a problem with his motor. That's what it was. That's why people are on him. It's his motor. It's not his talent. It's his motor sucks.
We talk about Andrew Wiggins right now. My bad. I'm sorry.
Hey, let me get to a call. Yeah, because we jumped into Andrew Wiggins from the draft.
He just you know Isaiah.
You know Isaiah. Okay.
Let me get to a call. Let me get to this call. Call you live. What's poppin'?
It's Andrew Wiggins.
Yo, what up, Tim? How you doing, bro? How's everything, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How you feeling?
Good. I just wanted to talk draft for a minute. I know you were saying, does it have, people want Edwards, but I don't see it. In the next to RJ. I don't think that pairing was going to work really well.
But the issue is not about it being next to RJ. The issue is that he has the most potential to be a star out of the draft. So if you get the number one pick, I mean, right now, we're not in a position where we got to say, well, yeah, he fits next to RJ, so, you got to do it this way or that way. Not when you're talking about the number one pick. You know what I mean? I could see if there were like three guys that all of them were worthy of being the number one pick, and then you pick the one that's going to fit next to RJ the best. I think at this point, you say, we're going to get the talent, and we're going to try to develop these guys so that they can shoot and so that they can work off of one another. Listen, basketball players... If you can ball, and you can play, and you can, some people have a hard time learning how to play with others, but a lot of basketball players, they can work and mesh together. They can find a way to get it done. I understand the reservation of putting the two together, but when you talk about that kind of a talent, you got to do it.
I just think it's another guy that's not a shooter. He needs the ball and a chance to be effective. He's not good off ball. I think to suit RJ best, I think you need someone that's good off ball, and that's not Edwards. But I don't know. That's just my opinion. I just don't like that pairing.
Listen, he may not be a knockdown shooter, right? But it doesn't mean he's going to be a young guy. He's very young. He is very young, right?
He's 18, right?
He's 18 years old. I don't know when his birthday is, but he may still be 18 years old. You know what I mean? He's going to have time to learn how to shoot. And once both of them, hopefully both of them learn how to shoot the ball, consistently.
You know what I mean?
But it's also an if. It's also an if that you bring somebody in that can shoot the ball, and they still, there are other quirks that makes them not fit well next to RJ. So everything is an if. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that kind of talent, you don't pass on it. You don't pass on it.
I just look at it like, if we got a top pick, I wouldn't mind just trading down, taking a Vassell at 9. That's a guy I really like. He shoots.
What?
He's really good off ball. He defends. So why not just get a Vassell and then trade up and try and get a Kira Lewis or something?
Oh, you're saying you're saying if you get a top pick, if you get the number one pick, you trade down.
If I could get a big package and a pick next year and a way better draft, obviously it takes two teams, but say Detroit wants LaMelo. That's just my opinion on this draft. I'm just not sold on a lot, even the top guys. I'm just, not totally sold. So say a team wants to trade up and give you a pick next year and a great draft. Isn't that something you would consider to trade down a little bit?
I don't know. I think if you have the number one pick, I don't know if Anthony Edwards would be the number one pick in next year's draft, but he's going to be a very high pick. But he would be a very high pick. He would be a very high pick. You know what I'm saying?
Probably not even top 5.
I don't know about that.
Can the caller hear me, son?
Yeah, he can hear you. That's why all your little groans and grunts. You gotta keep them to yourself because they can hear you, and everybody else can.
My bad. So But no. So I was saying. So when it comes to NBA, right? This is the whole difference. This to me is always one of the major differences when it comes to NFL and NBA. NFL, a lot of teams do that because that's very smart to trade down because, again, one player usually doesn't unless you're the quarterback, one player doesn't truly affect the team. That's why when you see teams in the NFL, when they trade down, it's more universally praised, versus when the NBA does it. Because when the NBA does it, sometimes the talent level drops really, really bad from like 1 to 9.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
But does it, you think, in this draft, though? Like, do you think there's a huge difference? You know?
Think about it like this, my friend. When it comes to the last time we seen somebody really trade down and it worked was when the Celtics traded the number 1 pick to go and switched it with the Sixers. They got Fultz and they got Jason Tatum. That's the last time we've seen it worked.
Yeah.
You know, and it usually doesn't. And to me personally, I don't see it really work in the NBA trading down versus how it does in the NFL. You know, so it just, you got to take that into consideration. And you know, we do have we have a good talent. We have a good scouting team now. So you know, the Knicks could take a chance on doing that. But you got to be right on this, because if you're not right on that, man, that can set you back a little bit.
Like, do you think like LaMelo and Edwards are like short? Obviously, I guess there's never really short things, you know. But do you think they're that much better than, say, you know, all the other point guards like LaMelo is? Do you think he's way better than, you know, Hayes and all the other guys? Like, he's flawed, you know what I mean? He's, you know, we know his flaws. He's not very good defensively. He's not a shooter. So then right there you have LaMelo, RJ, and Mitch, right? Those are probably your main 3 core pieces. And where are the shooters coming from? You know, who's hitting the jump shots?
But you can get other players you can get players in free agency that can shoot a jump shot.
Are you going to spend that much for Harris and Bertans? And
but you may not have to. I mean,
be expensive
for a guy that can. I mean, listen, if you got the number 1 pick and you already got that budgeted, the Knicks are going to have $40 million to spend on free agents. You know what I'm saying? If you were to get the number 1 pick and you got Anthony Edwards, you got $40 million and you got a 27th pick to find a shooter.
Yeah.
And you got a 2nd round pick to find a shooter. You got Iggy Brasdeikis that can shoot the ball.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you know, how are they going to use him? I don't know. You got Reggie Bullock. You got Reggie Bullock that can shoot the ball that they still have under contract.
You got Dotson. You got Dotson sometimes.
Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with whole team Dot. We'll see what happens with Dotson. But there's other guys. If they don't bring Dotson back, hopefully they do. I like Dotson, right?
Yeah,
but if they don't
Dotson
bring him back,
too,
there's other guys that you can get $5, $6, $7 million a year that can shoot the ball.
Yeah,
you get Kyle Korver. He'll give you Kyle Korver. You can spend like what, maybe $10 million on him, and you get a shooter.
I want to say this to him. I don't know what y'all watch, how Edwards played in college, but if you're talking about a 6'5" shot creator, he can definitely play off the ball, because that's what his coach was teaching him throughout the second half of college, and he was running a lot of plays from off the ball. Just go back and look at the Duke game when they lost, because they took him off the ball a lot, and he was learning. This kid is 6'5", 215, can shoot on all 3 levels. His shooting efficiency, I get it. Y'all might be, but sometimes sometimes what you're watching, yo, listen, this kid is legit, man. And he could be a high class defender at the wing. And the Knicks can't guard the wings. So he can be also another guy that can guard the wing with RJ. And RJ can play with him because he can shoot off the ball when given. This guy is a shooter. This ain't the same RJ type of shooting. This guy can shoot, and he will take the shot. That's a big difference. And he asks hard. So I will take him number 1, without a doubt.
Okay.
Yeah. Who does Edwards remind you of? Like, if you had to say in the NBA, like his type of game.
Who, Edwards?
Yeah.
I would say Joe Johnson, athletic Joe Johnson.
Yeah. I don't think Edwards has a dribble like Joe Johnson. I was going to say, this might sound
some Oladipo in him.
I said a bigger Oladipo.
That's
I can see that. I can see a bigger Oladipo.
So he takes
a little bigger. Yeah, like a stronger Oladipo, something like that, probably.
What were you gonna say, Andy?
Yeah, I was gonna say that if you're the New York Knicks and you get the number 1 pick, and you even think about trading down, the media is gonna eat you alive. So you don't even consider that.
The Knicks finally get a job,
bro. You don't consider trading down from the number 1. You can trade down from the number 3 or wherever, but if you get the number 1, you're not trading down.
But say Detroit, you know, they need a point guard and like us. So say they gave a monster offer, pick next year, and from everyone, what you're hearing and what you see, it's going to be the best draft in a while. So they give you some monster offer, unprotected pick next year's draft to trade down a few spots. You wouldn't at least think about it.
But you know, Are any players in next year's draft a sure thing? No. In any draft, are they a sure thing? No.
There's never really a sure thing. This draft is not.
Right, but this is what happens. This is what happens. Right,
Yeah.
At some point we just gotta start to win games, man. Because here we go. We're talking about next year's draft, right? And then next year we're gonna be like, well, you know what? The draft 2 years from now is gonna be banging. You know what I'm saying? We might as well lose for another 2 years and try to get that pick. No, man. Like we got to start winning, man.
No, not lose. I don't want to lose. I want to win. Yeah, I want to win games. But I'm not saying trade out of the draft. I'm saying you can still go get a Vassell or something. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Can I ask the caller? Can I say something?
Yeah. Then I'm gonna let him go.
Caller, what you saying? What you insinuating about next year's draft? In my mind, I'm thinking that you've already said that we're going to have a losing season, and we haven't even bounced the ball yet. So you don't know what the season's going to be like.
That's well, I'm saying if you got a future pick, say from Detroit, they're gonna be bad, like next year. So I'm not saying I want us to be bad. I'm saying if you could get a future pick from the right team.
Yeah, but
maybe think about.
I feel you, but think about it. If Detroit sees next year's draft too, right? And they think next year's draft, then they're going to have some kind of protections, or they're going to say we can switch or something like that. Hey, I'm going to let you go, man. I appreciate your call.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
All right. But let me tell you, this whole thing just gets crazy sometimes. Pretty soon it's going to be like, yo, this is kid in the 3rd grade. He comes out 2029. We need to do everything so that in 2029 we are trash. So we can get this kid. I'm telling you, bro, that's how it's going to be soon.
But Sim, you know the wildest part about that, Sim?
It's a losing mentality. You're exactly right, Sim. You give that losing mentality, that's what it is.
But Sim, you know the wildest part about that, Sim, is that you're not even far off. You're literally not far off because listen, right now the highest grade third grader in the nation, he's gonna be in 2033. You want to start looking at him now. See, the thing is, look, right? We had this discussion before. I remember we had this like a month or two ago about losing, and how we got to get out of this, because if we keep harping on, oh man, we got to wait till 2021 because, Cade Cummington or whatever his name is, he's going to, because they got him to being the next Kobe, he's going to be the number 1 pick. Dude, we got to stop doing that, because at the end of the day, we got to start winning. This is why I always go to the NFL when it comes to like draft positioning. And there's no team in the NFL wants to lose, because nobody cares about getting the number 1 pick unless you're like a quarterback needing team and you're like, you know what, I'm going to tank for Trevor Lawrence next year.
And it's only 16 games in football.
You know what I'm saying? But that's another thing too. It's just like, yo, we got to get out of this mentality of losing. Like, yo, I get it. I get the lottery. I get the lottery. I get that we need players. But and also too, here's another thing, right? Here's another thing. We keep getting these players, right? And all of them produce. Guess what they're going to want? Money.
Yeah,
nobody wins it. It's too many factors. And nobody wins a championship when everybody's getting paid $30 million a piece.
Yeah, so it's crazy, man. Pretty soon, we're gonna be trying to get. Edward Stalin just said it. Yep. Let's tank for Keon Anthony.
I don't know who that is.
That's Melo's son. Let's tank for Bronny. Let's tank for Bronny James.
I could definitely see Sim advocating for us to tank for.
Oh yeah. That's
the only dude up there who knew his game anyway.
You are not right.
Yo, Guillermo, he got his jersey. Oh yeah, I was at it. He got the jersey.
The label to his. Come on.
I mean, I don't know. We gotta stop. We gotta win, man.
Yeah, we got the best Knicks channel. I gotta always say that, man. We got the best Knicks channel, man. I love this, man.
We gotta win, man. We gotta put out there. We gotta win, man. Let me get to another phone call. Let me get to this phone call. If I got another one coming in, we'll get another one. But then we're gonna switch over to Sportscaster and talk about the playoffs. Caller, you live. What's popping?
Back is time.
What's going on? Thanks for picking up my call, man.
Hey, what's going on, man? How you feeling?
Good. I just want to talk about you guys are talking about players and the draft. I just want to talk a little bit about that.
All right, go ahead.
First of all, in terms of the draft, I'm a huge Wiseman fan. I just want to, I want to put that out there. And I agree with you and Isaiah talking about Mitchell Robinson, how he needs a jump shot. So I don't know. I'm too, there is a cause for concern for Mitchell Robinson, because I'm like, he don't have a jump shot. And I kind of agree with you on that, with you guys on that.
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
I think he's going to develop a jump shot. My concern this year is just with Tom Thibodeau and how Tom Thibodeau is going to use him, how that's going to work out. That's my biggest thing with him for this year.
I agree with your feelings. I agree. I don't know, since he coached Karl Anthony Towns, and Karl Anthony Towns is a good player. I mean, I agree with people with the comments, and shout out to people in the chat and in the comments. But I agree with people saying that, Karl Anthony Towns is not a great defensive player. I agree with them, and I want to keep that in context and in perspective. But I think that's even more reason why I think we might see a different side of Tibbs this year, where I'm not sure he's going to want a player like Mitchell Robinson or possibly a player like Frank, unless they have the potential to have a jump shot. I think now that he's worked with Karl Anthony Towns, and he's like, okay, you do need a jump shot in this league. I think he's ahead of the curve. So I think he knows that, listen, you do need to play defense, but you do need a jump shot. And he has experience, coaching Joakim Noah, who he doesn't have the best jump shot. But I don't know. I think I would be concerned. If I was Mitchell Robinson, I'd be like, yo, listen, how's his jump shot? And if you could draft a Wiseman, I think he's going to go for a Wiseman. And if not, then I don't know. I think they might go for another player, but I don't want to. I kind of want to get into the point guard position, because I think he's going to want a veteran point guard too. I'm like, wait a minute. I know we spoke a lot in the show about Chris Paul, and Chris Paul will be a great fit for the Knicks. And my whole thing is, if we cannot get a Chris Paul, what do the Knicks do? And I know Guillermo is going to disagree with me on this one, but if John Wall could, I think he has a lot of ball. No. I know that you like point guard.
No. We got to zoom in. We got to.
I mean, it wasn't just me.
I know so far right now it may not sound like a good idea, but maybe in the trade deadline, maybe it could be a good idea. I don't know. He has a lot of dog in him, and I'm only talking in the sense of bringing in a culture player. That's all I'm saying.
How dare you?
Sorry, guys. Sorry, I have to say. We don't have too many options. What are the options? Who is going to be?
First of all, like John Wall makes what, $40 million a year, and he brings nothing that Chris Paul brings to the table. He brings nothing that.
No, I'm not saying over Chris Paul. I'm saying we cannot get Chris Paul. I'm saying let's get that.
Padding stats, man. He's not making nobody better.
I get that, but he's coming off of an Achilles that he broke he messed up his Achilles falling down some stairs or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, that's what they say. That's what they say.
He was partying.
He has a lot of dog in him. He has him and RJ in the backcourt, and you bring in Melo. I know people are going to kill me for that one too. Look, you have a starting five of John Wall, RJ, Julius Randle, Carmelo Anthony, and Kevin Knox.
Oh my God!
I think that could give Tibbs something to work with to start with.
We did the veteran point guard thing with Derrick Rose. We did that already.
Right now.
I'm going to sleep.
Listen. Hold on. See, the thing with John Wall, he's got the Achilles. I don't know what kind of shape he's in, but he's not like that leader type of point guard that you need. We don't need a point guard that can run up and score. We know John Wall could do that. We don't need one that can run up and score. We need one that can lead, direct, be the orchestrator out there, score when need be. You know what I'm saying? I just don't think John Wall is that kind of guy.
Read his contract out for him because he has 4 years. He just signed that deal. And I want him for 4 more years.
Hold on. One at a time. One at a time.
I was gonna say, just to let you know, Sim, that
I gotta keep it short because it's already. Another thing I want to talk about Frank real quick. What do you think about the idea of moving Frank to the 2 as a shooting guard and have him sort of, because people always want Frank Ntilikina to shoot and take more shots. I mean, why don't we just move him to the 2 and he could be the quote-unquote Tim Hardaway Jr. for the Knicks?
I mean, I think Frank Ntilikina, I think he kind of plays all over the place, though. You know what I mean? I mean, sometimes he plays 2, sometimes he plays the point guard spot, sometimes he plays small forward spot. You know what I mean? So he's kind of just that Swiss Army knife that you can plug him in one of those 3 positions and tell him to go play. You know what I'm saying? And if you're playing a Rockets, you might be able to play him at the 4. Who knows? But
even center,
so I think
like remember James Harden when James before Russell Westbrook got out there, James Harden was playing point guard. He had like when Jeremy Lin went to the Rockets, he was playing the 1, and he sort of does look like the main point guard of the Houston Rockets. I think RJ can transition to something like that, and you could just have Frank Ntilikina go develop your jump shot, play the 2, and don't we want him to play his amazing defense, but I kind of want to see his jump shot develop more and his aggression on the offense to develop more, and let RJ sort of be like a I'm not going to compare him to James Harden. I'm not going to do that, but there are a lot of similarities between the Knicks roster and the Houston roster and how they are.
What? No, come on, bro.
I'm having a brain aneurysm right now.
Yeah, we put
hold on, guys. Let him finish. Go ahead. Finish what you're saying.
I can let them speak. I want to hear what they're gonna say. I don't mind.
Nah, right now they're just grunting and groaning. They didn't have nothing to say. They were just grunting and groaning.
Okay.
Oh, that's a damn lie. We got something to say. That's a damn lie.
I see a lot of similarities
right now
between the Knicks and Houston. I think there's a lot of small ball and all that sort of stuff, but I'm gonna keep it short, Sam.
Okay, hey, I appreciate you, man. You gave us a lot. You gave us a lot of stuff to talk about, man. So stay on the line, bro. Appreciate you, bro. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. First of all, John Wall.
You sick, man.
John Wall made.
Please read that contract. Read that contract. Just read the contract.
Yeah, John Wall made $38 million in 1920. He makes $41 million in 2020, 2021, $44 million in 2021, 2022. Then he has a player option in 2022, 2023 for $47 million.
Yeah, not happening.
Hey, yo. Hey, yo, Sim. I wish
that would choke us for the next how many years?
Yo, Sim, I wish a front office would tell me to decline $47 million. I would click on them so fast, man.
Right.
Guys, like they look at him as NBA 2K, like they look at him in the lens of NBA 2K, right? Let me just get a bunch of guys. When he said John Wall and Julius Randle, John Wall had an issue with Marcin Gortat. He had an issue with Bradley Beal. For better or worse, I'm not saying who was right. There's issues with Bradley Beal. But you're talking about with Julius Randle. Do you understand how little that ball will move? And as I said, because John Wall, I mean, I think he gets a bad rap sometimes for not being passive. Sometimes he was a willing passer, but when we talk about overall point guard is going to make our players better, that's not.
That's not going to be a flow. That would not be a good flow. And then he said Melo too. Then he said Melo too. So John Wall, Carmelo Anthony, Julius Randle, R.J. Barrett.
Dallas to the desert.
Do you understand that teams
who's playing that?
You know how many points you score in this?
That caller really made my day going the other side because.
So all right. So look, with that being said, we're gonna end it here on YouTube, and we're gonna jump over to Sportscaster, folks. All right, the link is in the YouTube chat, so make sure you jump over to Sportscaster. We're gonna talk about the NBA playoffs. All right, we're gonna break that down a little bit. Talk about it.
Push, bro.
A few there's some former Knicks that are in the NBA playoffs. So, we're going to talk about having a good time. So make sure you join us on Sportscaster right now, because we're heading over there. I'm spamming my own YouTube chat, and the link is also in the description of this video. All right, so you can
check it out. Peace, everybody.
All right. You can stay on the call, bro. You can stay on the call because you're still going to be on the call. Did you hang up?
All right.
Yeah. Nah, you still on the call. I'm just gonna pick you. I'm just gonna pick up when we get over to. I mean, I don't have to cut. I don't have to do anything.
I see you already. I'm already over there. I see. I thought it was gonna be difficult.
Nah, it's all good. So, ladies and gentlemen, please see me over there. Yes, Emmanuel. We will talk about Scott Perry. We'll talk about Scott Perry a little bit and whether or not he's going to end up back in Sacramento. Then we're going to get into the NBA playoffs. So make sure you join us over there. The NBA playoffs start tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen.
Damn,
so
already? That's crazy.
it starts tomorrow. Remember, if you don't join us on Sportscast, remember Thursday at 8:00, we'll be here doing the lottery. You'll get the notification. I'm going to send it out.
Wednesday! Don't forget Wednesday. Wednesday, me and Guillermo.
Yeah, and Siobhan, my man Siobhan said Sim got to start hanging up on some of these callers. But he called them glue. He called them glue sniffers. I don't know. Why you gotta do that? Why you gotta do that? Right? Why you gotta do that?
Somebody say yo, John Wall and Julius Randle sound good on the Wizards.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, check the description of this video. Check in the YouTube chat. The link is right there, and we're heading over to Sportscaster exclusively.
That call was flagrant.
He's still on the phone, Mark.
He's still on the phone, Mark. Mark, he's still on the phone.
Nah, that's not him. That's another caller.
Oh, that wasn't him? Oh, that was
I'm a new caller.